JB, very good to see you today. Let's talk about the 5 financial planning mistakes that we all need to avoid. According to Bankrate.com, nearly 3/4 of U.S. adults report at least one financial regret. So today we're breaking down the top 5 planning mistakes. And you've been doing this a while, you've seen a lot. Number 1, not having a GRIP on your retirement. GRIP is an acronym. What does it stand for?
Great to see you as always, Erin. A GRIP, Guaranteed Retirement Income Plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting you say you've been doing this a long time. A good friend of mine who worked for Social Security told me, he said, if you've been doing something longer than 10 years, just say a long time. Don't tell them 25 to 60. So,
Yeah.
Yes, we have. But you have to have that Guaranteed Retirement Income Plan. And that includes a lot of different things. You've got your Social Security. You may have a pension. And you may have guaranteed income sources such as an annuity, other things like that that can help with your guaranteed retirement income plan. Outside of the guaranteed income sources, you have to look at your goals, and you have to have things that are in the markets. You have to have things that are guaranteed interest rates according to your goals. But if you don't have that guaranteed income plan, you don't have a grip on your retirement.
Right. Next, taking inappropriate risk. Taking on too much or even too little risk can derail your retirement. But how do we know how much risk we should be taking?
This is something that everyone will have a different answer. Erin, you and I may have very similar risk tolerances in retirement, but we may have a friend who has totally different goals. You may have a relative, you may have a neighbor. Everybody has their own risk tolerance and their own goals. And it goes both ways. Some people will say, well, I've got everything earning 3, 4, 5%, and it's just sitting in the bank. And it's going to help me. I'm earning enough interest. Well, what happens when interest rates drop? What happens if inflation goes up? What happens if taxes go up? What is your plan for that? So we do see some people take too little risk according to their goals. We also see there are some folks who still have every dollar of their retirement when they're in their 80s in the stock market. Well, if you have pre-tax dollars in the markets and you're forced to take required minimum distributions, that can hurt you because you may have to take money out of assets that may not be performing as well as you want with taxes with the RMD. So risk can go both ways. Make sure you're taking the right amount of risk based on your goals.
Right. Next, we have a gross planning mistake, focusing too much on your gross savings, i.e. saving too much in those tax-deferred accounts.
Yes. It can be very, very tempting to save in the pre-tax retirement accounts while we're working, because think anything I put in there, it's going to lower my taxable income. Well, that can help in the short term. But what happens if you do that for 10 years or 20 years or 30 years? And you build up this asset that, as Ed Slott, the guru on IRAs, says, that can become a ticking tax time bomb. So you save your money in the pre-tax accounts, and then when it comes time to making withdrawals, you have to pay taxes. It gets added to your taxable income. Also, we see a lot of folks who have too much in the taxable accounts where you have to pay taxes every year. It's happened, especially true here lately. We see a lot of folks, they'll bring in their tax return and we'll look, and they'll have a lot of 1099 interest, or they'll be earning a lot of interest on their taxable money markets and things like that. There are some things we can do to reduce the taxable income by going into tax deferred accounts if you're paying taxes right now on those fully taxable accounts. And then you can go from the tax deferred accounts and build out a Roth conversion plan. We do a lot of that, helping folks before they reach their retirement, their RMD age, where they can convert pieces of those pre-tax accounts into the Roth, pay taxes now at today's rates, leave it in there for 5 years, and then have tax-free forever. So there's a lot of things you can do to help with taxes.
Right. Mistake number 4 is not having a plan for long-term care. And just to remind everyone, 7 out of 10 people will need long-term care at some point.
It's a lot. One of those risks, a lot of folks would like to just kick the can down the road and say it won't happen to me. But statistically, 7 out of 10 people are going to experience long-term care for themselves.
Right.
Now, that might mean somebody needs rehabilitative services for a week after breaking a shoulder. It might mean they have to be in a nursing home. It might mean assisted living. My grandmother lived in assisted living for 9 years. I know of people who've had to be in memory care or full nursing care for over a decade. We just don't know what the future holds for us. But if you, as part of your plan, have a plan to address that goal, that risk. It might mean earmarking a portion of your retirement dollars to help fend off against that risk, not touch that money until that event happens down the road, and then you utilize it that way. It might mean having long-term care insurance or home health care insurance. Those can be very effective if you can qualify at helping to protect the entire nest egg. And it also might mean you have other types of accounts that are blended accounts, think life insurance or annuities, that might pay out extra benefits if you need any kind of extended health care. But the bottom line is you need to have a plan, and you need to have something that can help protect your family if and when those circumstances come about.
Right. And then last, not optimizing Social Security. Only 4% of people claim at the most financially optimal time, which means the remaining 96% are missing out on what comes out to $111,000 per household.
96%, that's a huge number.
Right.
We've been helping folks with their Social Security planning for about 12 years. We've got some software that can help. It can help identify the optimal time financially to draw. You take a husband and a wife, you look at your income, you look at your longevity, you need to look at your health, you need to look at, are you still working? These are all things that coincide and go into this. So financially, if you start drawing Social Security at age 62, it's going to be about 30% lower check, $300 less a month than if you draw at age 67. So percentage-wise, that's about 44%. If you wait until you're 70, it's a much larger benefit. So every year you wait, the benefits increase by 8% per year. But you also have to factor in Social Security is taxed at a much more favorable rate than your pre-tax accounts. There have been some new updates with the Big Beautiful Bill where some folks are going to see extra relief in their Social Security check. So that all factors in as well. So you have to have a plan, and you have to look at Social Security, how it might impact your taxes, and when to draw at the best time. One other thing, when you look at IRMA taxes, you want to make sure that if there's ways that you can reduce taxes on that Medicare, you do that. So there's a lot that goes into things, more so than just, hey, I'm retiring, I'm going to start drawing Social Security today.
Absolutely. Well, you can see how all of these parts fit together, and each mistake, you should have a plan to address it, which is essentially a risk. And I know that you, again, specialize in this, JB. So if somebody wants to sit down, make sure that they are avoiding these common mistakes, what's the best way to reach you?
We'd love to help folks with any of these goals. The best way to reach us, you can reach us online at beckettfinancialgroup.com. You can also call us at 803-939-4848, and we can be happy to address any of these risks and concerns.
Great. JB, thank you.
Thank you, Erin.